Hey guys, my name is Haley and today I'm going to be doing kind of a random video. I don't know how many of you are here for the K-pop or the theater because I don't talk about them as often as I probably should considering how much I pay attention to both of those things, but I thought I would do a video in which I would explain why I think K-pop and theater are very, very connected and similar in certain ways, and I think that's why I enjoy the K-pop industry so much and why I like watching it and like consuming it the way that I do, because I think they have many similarities. So like people that also like theater will like K-pop, or people that like K-pop will probably like some theater. So I'm going to talk about those similarities today. I don't know if this is interesting to any of y'all, but please let me know if it is. One thing about K-pop that I think is the most similar to theater is that K-pop, while most people I think of K-pop as just the music and like music to listen to, but K-pop especially is more like the full package. Like it's meant to be a full package of the music, the songs, and then watching them perform as like dancers and singers and rappers. And like it's meant to be watched. It's not like a lot of, I don't know, American music where most people like will just listen to the music and like kind of know the singers or the band or whatever, but aren't super familiar with them unless you happen to absolutely love them and go to a concert. You would never see it live, but K-pop is meant to be consumed live, which I think is one of the biggest similarities to theater, because obviously theater you can listen to the soundtracks all you want and get to know the show that way, but it's obviously the most effective being in the live audience to watch it with your own two eyes. Is any theater person who has ever like loved a show and the soundtrack for like years and then finally gets to go see the show live knows how interesting it is to watch the show you thought you knew so well with the staging and the choreography, which I think is very similar to theater in that I can listen to the song all I want when it first comes out and like watch the music video, but when I actually get to see the choreography and how it's staged and set up, it makes the world of difference. Another thing that I think is kind of interesting is that, like theater, certain K-pop groups can focus on like one thing. Like obviously K-pop nowadays is very focused on like singing, dancing, and rapping, but some groups are known for like a very specific thing. Like if you think of NCT is known for their dancing and their like synchronization, or even 17's very known for their dancing, or even as you get into older K-pop, they're very known for their singing. And then there are other groups that are known for their like triple threat is what we would call it in theater, of a singer, dancer, and actor. In K-pop it would be singer, dancer, rapper probably. So like comparisons being a musical that's known for their dancing and not necessarily the plot line or music. Although obviously they're all known for like all of those things, but they have one thing that is superior. So like shows as in musicals known for their dancing would be like Cats or Billy Elliot. Those are very good shows, but they're definitely known to showcase dancing. And then like in K-pop it would be like NCT or 17. Like they're very known for their synchronization. They're known for how cool their lineups look because they have so many people that type of idea. And then you have shows that are more focused on music, such as like Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which was a show I was in for many years, is known for its music styles. Like each song is a different music style. They have a song that's very Fosse inspired, like in the way that it's set up and choreographed. They have like a Western song, they have a Jamaican song, like they have a ton of different styles of music in there. And then like Sweeney Todd. Sweeney Todd's known for their music because it's Sondheim, because it's wicked high and wicked hard to learn. Like it's very, very difficult to learn Sweeney Todd because his music doesn't go in a way that is normal for theater, I guess is the best way to put it. It's not predictable, is what Stephen Sondheim is known for. Obviously a lot of groups are known for their singing. 17's known for their singers. Like Infinite's known for their singers. Infinite I feel like is definitely one of those like triple threat groups, and that they're good at singing, dancing, and rapping, and have several people that can do all three. Because even in a lot of K-pop groups there's people that like might be able to dance but aren't the best singers, or like might be able to rap but aren't the best singers. And then Infinite has people like, I always think of Hoya and Dongwoo, and that they're triple threats in that they sing, they are very good dancers, they're the group's main dancers, and they rap, like they're also their rappers, which blows my mind because that is not that normal in theater or in K-pop to have someone who can do all three very, very well. And then of course in theater you have plays, which are not musicals, so you don't have to have the singing and dancing aspect to it. It's more purely focused on acting and the storyline. And in my comparison to that in K-pop would definitely be like a group like N-Flying, which is one of the K-rock bands, which is really just K-pop music without the choreography and the dancing, and less rap, honestly, than is normal in K-pop nowadays. Because they don't dance, they're not dancers, they're not rappers. 2 of them are singers and the rest of them play instruments. Like, it's very unusual for the K-pop industry. And the K-rock bands don't do as well, from my understanding, in the industry, which I find very interesting because it's definitely the case in theater, in that plays often aren't as well known as musicals because they're not as well rounded and people aren't always as interested in them. Another thing about K-pop that I find very interesting is that it's meant to be very well rounded, in that the dances are supposed to be like somewhat easy, so you could like kind of learn them and like dance along with them to your friends. There are people that only listen to the music, but it's really not common. They're often people that are very much in the fandom, like on Stan Twitter, and especially in Korea and places that are not international are the ones voting and everything in all of the music shows that they do. K-pop is definitely very fan focused in that they like to have the fans be very active, almost like stage dooring in theater. It's become a thing in the last couple of years, especially, that stage dooring is the thing to do to meet your favorite actors. That's very much a K-pop thing. You want to meet your bias. Like, that's just the deal with a lot of people who are K-pop fans. Or the idea of you want to be in the room where it happens, as Hamilton puts it. That the goal for K fans, like Korean fans who go to the music shows and everything, is they want to get into the lottery, to get into the room where their favorite groups are going to be performing live in front of them for the recordings. And that's very much theater thing as well. Like, you might love the show as much as you want to on the soundtrack, but unless you actually get to see it live, it's not the same thing. It's not the same feeling. I definitely think this is something I always say about K-pop, is I feel like the name is misleading in that it's not all pop music. Like, K-pop is just the word for what the industry is, and that it's music in Korean, like using Korean lyrics, and they often, like especially nowadays, throw in like English lines because they know they have a huge international fan base, which can be good and cannot be good because obviously there's some Koreans that don't know English at all and have a really hard time pronouncing it. But they do the same thing with other international things. A lot of groups will do Chinese versions, a lot of groups do Japan comebacks and do stuff in Japanese. So they are getting better at catering to international fans, even though the international fans obviously can't participate in a lot of the music show stuff or a lot of the voting for music shows, which is really frustrating as an international stan, to not be able to support them to the level that you would like to, which I also feel like is a thing with Broadway. Like, obviously not everybody can fly to New York City and go see their favorite Broadway show, especially Hamilton. Hamilton tickets are like $6,000 for like a decent seat, which is ridiculous. So a lot of people obviously are flocking to the online format that theater has been taking during this pandemic, especially with Hamilton being released on Disney Plus. That is making it so much easier for people to consume that content that they're really interested in without having to fly to New York or like to spend all the money to go be in the room where it happens, which I feel like K-pop has done a really good thing with in the last few years as the industry has grown and the fan base has grown. But I do think anyone who likes theater or likes music in general, I just think the theater aspects are the most interesting to me, probably because I'm a theater person. But if you're a fan of music in general, I always tell people there is a genre or a group in K-pop that anyone can like. Like, if you're not interested in dancing, get into a group like N-Flying. If you just want to listen to the music, just start listening to like comebacks as groups come out with stuff. If you're not in it for the fandom, that's fine. You can also just be someone that listens to music. But I do think that the immersive like fandom culture is what has made K-pop so big. And I feel like not enough people give it a chance for what it is in ways that it can be similar to things that they're already familiar with, especially with Americans. I feel like Americans especially have this idea that listening to music in another language is really difficult because you feel like you can't understand the lyrics, which I don't understand, because with music is one of those universal things that I don't think it matters what you're hearing. If you listen, you will be able to get the vibe of the song. Like, this is something I always say to Kate. In the occasion that there is a K-pop song that is mildly inappropriate, I can usually tell just by the sound of it without understanding what they're saying, which that's another thing I feel like not a lot of people know about K-pop is that a lot of it is not inappropriate. They do not swear in their songs or anything because that is not accepted in Korean culture. Like, there are many songs that get blacklisted for being very inappropriate. So that's another thing I feel like people aren't aware of. If you're looking for music anywhere in the world that you're like scared I'm not going to understand it and I'm going to be influenced by this music that's inappropriate, that's not really going to happen in K-pop very often because the music gets blacklisted in their country. In other words, the Korean government doesn't claim it. I don't know if this was fun. I don't know if this was helpful. I've been having this idea for this video in my head for a while every time I like go back and forth between something theater related and K-pop related, so there's my TED Talk on K-pop. But I hope you all enjoyed this. Let me know if you like any K-pop groups down below, or if you even like any theater. If anybody has watched Hamilton, please, I will talk about Hamilton all day long down in the comments. But thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.